Hello and welcome everybody once again to the 10th episode of the show, The Future of Web. It's a little milestone episode, for us. Started, say, 2, 3 months back, and we've been consistently doing one episode every week. So I want to thank all the guests who had agreed to come on the show. And yeah, and today also we're going to have a awesome show with lot of intense discussions and some things you're going to learn about Web3. So this the idea of this the show is to promote and educate people on Web3. They learn. There's a very minor percentage who are aware of what this Web3 technology is. So what we do is we try and bring the founders, investors, developers, community builders, designers, and other people, other folks, on this show, and so that we can talk about it and how they're impacting this technology and the industry per se. So, my name is Alek, and I'm the founder of Animo Solution, which is a Web3 design and development agency. So, you can go and check out our website to know more, or reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and we can, happy to chat. All right. So today's guest is somebody who is very important for me personally. Like we back in the day, when I was learning about Web3 and trying to get into the rabbit hole, as they say in this community. So he was somebody who was leading a cohort at Growth School. We're going to talk a little more about that once I have him on here. So he's one of the founding members of the Growth School, the organization. We all know, Vaibhav Sisinti and Uttam Gupta, kind of running that organization. And he's an awesome community builder. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Om. Hello, Om.
Hello, welcome. Thank you. I mean, I'm welcoming myself. Thank you so much, Alex, for having me here. I think
Yeah,
it's just an habit of being community welcoming people, so it's new.
yeah,
Thank you for
yeah, yeah,
having me.
yeah. Oh, pleasure is all mine, man. Pleasure is all mine. So I was just, in the introduction when you were, in backstage, I was just telling the audience that, like you were one of the key reasons, why I got into Web3, because you were running the cohort, right? Obviously, it was part of the growth school community, and they were trying to build it. It's a funny story how I got attached to that. We'll talk about it a little later. But like the way you ran the whole cohort, like I would see you always putting in the effort, just to bring everybody together, making sure there are different guests coming in. So thanks a lot to you. I'm gonna keep thanking you all this, through this show. So, so hope you don't mind with that, right?
Oh, that's fine. I think I'll just give it back always because I think uh, things like these are actually what makes difference. Not only people coming and learning stuff but actually doing stuff, and you reaching a milestone of 10 basically validates the same purpose, so it gives me the validation that I did something right. So I think it's
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is, like we have a custom. I usually ask, a couple of questions from the guest, which is, just to kick off the discussion. One is, like to understand you a little better. Like I have known you for a long time now, but for the people who are listening in for the first time, so we start with something, which we ask our guests to share something about themselves, which you have not shared with anybody else, or which nobody knows yet. So a kind of a secret which you can easily share.
Got it. I think a lot of things are not out there, so anything I say would be a secret to a lot of people. One of the, I mean, not many podcasts that I've been on. uh, I started with Kabaddi World Cup in 2016,
Okay. Okay.
and I that was the also year after that when I dropped out of my college. I was studying physics, and
Mm-hmm.
and I was exploring the space of events, offline event management, and all this stuff, and that's what my major background lies on. I
Mm-hmm.
was doing the sport event, I was doing exhibitions and conferences, trying to understand what's the space that I can grow in or look at what's basically my calling at that point of time, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I did all type of things that I could do in one in event
Yeah.
space, and so I got a
Okay.
decent opportunities because I was in Gujarat. I became part of vibrant Gujarat ecosystem there, I led this Ahmedabad International Literature Fest for 4 years. Uh, the funny story, the secret here would be, at that point of time, I thought, why not, go ahead, do an event management program actually, to get to actually understand how it works. I didn't have money
Yeah.
at that time. That was just, I guess, 45K ka program of 2 months or 3 months. 1 year after
Mm-hmm.
that, just 1 year after that, in the second season of Ahmedabad International Literature Festival, I trained the 45 students of the same institute where I wanted to join to learn. Uh, so
Oh
that
wow.
was that was a validation. Oh, it's not the only way that you could take, and that is
Yeah.
where the upskilling part, growing self education part, came into my understanding. Oh, this is what the impact it can create if you just do it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
See that.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
not a lot of people are doing that at that point of time specifically because
Mm-hmm.
Gujarat definitely is a land of businesses, business people. A lot of,
Yeah. Yeah.
but nobody thinks on the lines of like a startup ecosystem or like a people like a freelance. You won't find a lot of freelancers at that point of time. Now there are a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
now you will also see a lot of developers coming out of Gujarat in Web3 specifically now. So the culture has
Nice.
grown a lot. I think I come from a point where it was growing up, and that's what I picked up. And I think one after the another, I started my own community, which was helping budding artists with stage time, building the portfolio, helping them with gigs, and then it moved to online back again because
Mm-hmm.
COVID was definitely one of the
Cold
main
happened. Yes. Yeah.
of doing that. So from helping artists, I went on to helping people to unwind their thoughts. Basically, we started doing
Uh-huh.
mental stress sessions on a monthly basis. And
Wow.
when I was, I can just call myself fortunate enough to get some decent partnerships that helped us do that. I was working with American Corner, which is U.S. Embassy Cultural Department, and along with that,
Uh-huh.
we had council with. So all the interesting folks who are into this were with there, because they see that something decent is happening, so they were just on board with the thought. And
Yeah.
on the same lines, I don't know if a lot of people know, I did a job in a KPO for 1.5 year, along with this community, along with learning stand up for 1.5 year. Now when
Oh
I look
wow.
back, now when I look back, I don't know how did I get a time, but I think yeah, I think and then last year, not last year specifically, but 2020 October is when I spoke to Web of he wanted to move from Facebook to some other platform in terms of creating a community and seeing how people can create value for each
Yeah.
other. And
Yeah, yeah.
that's
So we'll get there. We'll get there. Sorry to cut you short. We'll get there. We'll get there.
perfect.
You know. So yes,
Perfect.
sorry.
Yeah,
We'll
okay.
get there.
A lot
Yeah.
of secrets are
So
there.
lot of secrets came out. Lot of secrets came out. You know, like you've been. Like you did stand up, right? So did you participate in some stand up places? And like did you run any show there? Like that's very interesting.
I performed
Sorry to hear that.
exactly for not more than 7 or 8 times.
Uh-huh.
Because what happened is I was more on the training side. So there's
Okay.
just one guy whose name is Amit, who teaches comedy, and he's one of
Mm-hmm.
the youngest comedy trainer.
Oh,
Now he's
nice.
only 26, 7 years old, but at the time when he started was there. So I worked
Mm-hmm.
with him to actually translate all of his program materials from Gujarati to other languages. And he used to do these training programs. So because it was COVID, I helped him with doing it online, structuring and restructuring and all those bits. And meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
I learned whatever he was teaching, and I also was helping people who are in the program with all those things.
Yeah.
So and then because I was doing the community thing that
Mm-hmm.
opened all the stuff,
Uh-huh.
I used to host events myself. That's why it basically gave me
Mm.
an advantage there.
Yeah. Interesting. So your journey has been very interesting. Like, say from wanting to physics, like physics is my favorite subject, right? So I'm a fan of physics and, astronomy out of that. So I have, like read a couple of books and, from Leonardo da Vinci, how it all started for him. Then A Brief History of Time, so any physics guy has read that, so yeah, so it's interesting. So from physics to doing events to say wanting to learn a course but ended up teaching the same course, like to a lot of students. and to growth school. So, like, how was your move, or why did you decide to go to growth school? So I think that's where we, you want to really you want to know about it, you know. So, like, why did
How?
you decide growth school?
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Basically, what happened, specifically, if I tell you that,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to become a scientist. Astronomy, the word that you pointed out, I started learning that in my second standard. No, I
Yeah,
don't know how many people have privilege to learn that subject in itself,
yeah.
and I think I always wanted to become an astronomer, but when I dropped out of the system, I think I thought, yeah, and I still have that insecurity. I'll always have to perform 10x better than anyone who has a degree at this point of time.
Mm-hmm.
The good part is I am aware that how where I'm at in terms of in life. I can understand
Mm-hmm.
what's my places, but still there is
Yeah,
some insecurity that makes me do better.
yeah.
How growth school happened basically because I was already doing the community bits and pieces there for good 2 years, and I think it was so I was always looking up for how can I scale this, uh,
Okay.
how how can I go 10x? How can I have a team? How can I impact more people and not just like monthly take one call with people who want to get help behind their thoughts, along with setting up one event monthly basis where 10, 15 people come and speak and they get. Uh, how can we double down? How can we double down on this? How can we scale this? And how can
Mm-hmm.
I more people so that I can impact them? My
Mm-hmm.
underlying life statement, or so I feel happy when people feel happy. I think one of the core
Mm-hmm.
reasons why I'm into community is also that I'm not a person who will be very active and passionate in partying, but I will be the best one to execute or organize that party where people feel welcome, or any concert
Mm-hmm.
or any such kind of engagement that you might have. So I think
Mm-hmm.
because Vaibhav, I think the conversation that we had was around, I'm building my team. This is the first level team where we'll execute. I want to test out few more things and understand how to, and
Mm-hmm.
he has done it already with the LinkedIn workshop that he started at that point of time was already, I
Yeah.
guess, a 20th batch, and I saw the scale that he already had, and he already had, I think, a good 25,000 people took his program and stuff. So I think that was basically level up of what I was already doing. And I think
Mm-hmm.
very first guy to join him was Uttam, then Ambarish, I was the third, and along with me, U1 is one more guy who handles operations
Ah,
here.
okay.
So we both joined at pretty much the same time. We took care of the whole back end part of the business from there. Operation support, community experience. So I majorly looked at experience, and basically at that point of time, I was also learning about neuroscience because
Mm-hmm.
it was trending on YouTube at that point of time, to be very
Yeah.
honest, and that tricked me an interest into marketing. How do people behave, and how can we reach to them? How can we provide them better solutions? How to find actually right people for right
Mm-hmm.
product? And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that was one of the things. And when it comes to marketing, then growth hacking, the LinkedIn workshop, it all made sense to me at that point of time. And one of the reasons when Weber and I had a call, he said, community is something that he wanted help with, and I think why not? Let's do it. So I think that's when it started, and yeah, now it's been good 1.5 year, and
Yeah.
from five, I think we are a team of 75 now, and
Yeah.
Ambarish. So I think that is why it happened, and it's just growing, to be honest, and it will go on the same path.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. So at that point, I'll say, I keep following Vaibhav and Uttam. I'm following both on LinkedIn, so they keep sharing nuggets about, and especially, when the lot of layoffs came, like a lot of big companies were offering layoffs, or rather not offering, doing layoffs. So, I think there was a letter by Vaibhav, which was posted. It was fantastic gesture, for the team, and to, kind of take away their fears, like people have it, howsoever good you might be, but, eventually anybody who's in the team and who's, like some people have fear, right? So I think it was a very, very important gesture, and, to address those fears. So that was fantastic. So that gave us an idea, like what kind of culture he's trying to build, and rather the team, all four of you are trying to build within that system of or the company growth school. So fantastic for that.
Yeah. So I think in terms of culture, I think that's how we are wanting to build, and that's fundamentally how we are creating in our company. For example, uh, we don't first of all, there's a flat hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of managers that you report and like, associate hai, lead hai ye. It's not like that. Reporting system is very flat in that perspective, because we are still early stage. There are still a lot of things that we need to fix before we actually become
Mm-hmm.
bigger and stuff there.
Yeah.
And people are open to test their ideas, people are open to express their ideas and actually work on it. And the thing is, we are also open to, if you want to, for example, I'm in community, if there's a
Yeah.
project which marketing team is doing and I'm interested, I can be part of that, I can help them if I wanted to be. So there's a lot of I mean, definitely it goes on with your existing work should also be done. I mean, that's a no brainer. But and the lot of freedom that has come into system, I think that has helped people to grow in whatever they want to grow personally. And I think that's how we have sustained this relationship with everyone.
It's amazing, like because when you keep continue growing, so it shows, like in the daily things. No matter what people say, it's what they do which makes the impact. So hats off for that. So okay, so now your experience has been very varied. I can, we can probably guess why you wanted to do Web3 cohort, but that's something, like I would also want to understand, and probably the audience as well, who are listening in, that why Web3 cohort? Because not many people were talking about it, when you had taken it up. And it's a funny story how I got, like got to know about it, and then, I can share that later. But first, let's understand from you, like why Web3?
So what happened back in the day, I think when we were creating all of our programs, we used to work very
Mm-hmm.
personally with mentors. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I was the one person who was daily chatting up with them, what's happening, setting up the sessions and all of those happening. One of the very interesting, I think, two cohorts that came up, which was on new trends or the future technologies. One was cryptocurrency by Ajit Khurana.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and second was NFT program led by Raghava KK. Raghava was a caricature artist
Mm-hmm.
from Bangalore. Now
Yeah.
he's a disciplinary artist. So I think I was very fascinated because I've also I was fascinated by the profile that the guy had, and the very first call that I with him, I think when we were onboarding the first cohort,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a live TED talk that he was giving to us, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just amazing to hear his thoughts on the perspectives that he comes from. and
Mm-hmm.
and and also, artists have that knack of inspiring people, and the kind of perspective they bring in is very new. So I think it was good 4 to 8 weeks of program, and it still is. I mean, the people that I interacted to were all from artist background, a lot of architectures and a lot of developers, a lot of artists definitely was the major chunk of it. Uh, and because I was into community, I got again fortunate enough to speak to each one of those on a daily basis. Help them. I remember we spent 4 hours to create first MetaMask wallet with
Okay.
one of
Yeah.
them, and we taught that the very next day to 10 more people. I think this was one of the very first activities that we did when the Web3 cohort launched. We created a
Mm-hmm.
MetaMask wallet for 30 odd people on the call. I think.
Yeah, yeah, I
Uh,
was there. I was there. Yes.
Correct. So I think that was the inspiration. Oh, that is how we. So that was. It's basically the first step to get into it. I mean, and we did it long back, and I thought, I don't have to think a lot. The cycle is already there. I just have to build on top of it. And that conversation, I mean, last year with the NFT cohort, I think 11
Mm-hmm.
a.m., 11 p.m. we started, and I think we were three people who were trying to figure out, कुछ गलत तो नहीं हो जाएगा, if you're going the right way, कुछ seed की loss हो जाएगा, all those things that you could think about. I think a lot of problems still remain the same fundamentally for a lot of new people that are joining in. So
Yeah.
that was one of my major exposures to NFT and Web3 as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And once that ended, I made a lot of good friends whom I'm still in touch, who keep on sharing me thoughts. So I'm updated by all the latest information. So, and then I spent a lot of my time on Twitter Spaces when the
Mm-hmm.
community was growing. I think this community that I was chatting along was the one to start these Twitter Spaces on Twitter from Indian ecosystem point of view. A lot of Twitter Spaces, Clubhouse was very new. Recently, launched in Android also. So a lot of people jumped in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
A lot of that. We did a showcase of NFTs also. We were creating NFTs together at that point of time itself. Uh, so everything, I think a lot of things that we have done now in June, I think it was already one part was already tested out last year. So and then and I didn't even knew that your school is thinking about a Web3 program because I was on a break for
Mhm.
a and just when I joined back, I think that was the time I identified, oh, we have already done a lot of research and stuff. It's just going to begin. Why not?
Mm.
I mean, then I thought, yeah, how can you not tell me? First of all, uh, and I think as we are speaking in back as well, the company's understanding of Web3 was also just like Indian ecosystem. Like 1% of people know what's Web3, and
Yeah.
99% of people say, okay, कुछ होता है, कुछ fancy है, कुछ नया trend है. So, but I understood it, so I was able to take that lead and get into the execution part. And I because I was not there, I was not involved in a lot of the research part. Definitely, Uttam was there, and he did the fantastic job of getting on. I think good 25-30 speakers, good partners on board like Tezos, Polygon, and a lot of other people as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm still fortunate that I got in at the right time. I got back at the right time, so I was able to do what I did. So that was
Uh,
how understanding to actually running one.
oh, fantastic. So I think it's safe to say that you are the OG of Web3 cohorts in India.
Not yet, but yeah,
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
adopters may.
Early. Yeah, yeah. No, it's funny, like so how I got introduced, to this is I remember, so I had done that one of the LinkedIn course, from WebHub. So I could not really I had willingness to join it. I had paid for it, but I could not do it.
Mm,
So I had left it, got busy with job and everything. So and then I did it the second time after a few months. Still, then I was a little more active, like because it was happening online and they're mostly recorded courses, so I was trying to do it. So I think then there was an email blaster around the same time. There was email to a lot of people. I think probably everybody who signed up for growth school courses, that we are doing a Web3, and if you are do this, and if you're in the top, I think 500 or top 1,000 kind of thing, then you can get it, right? And there could be a discount off or free or something like that. So I thought, why not? So I had already started I'd started my own company by then and started reading about what is Web3, and I come from a background of AR, VR, and creative. So for me, it was very easy to understand all of this and the technologies. So then I thought, okay, why not? Let's do a deep dive. That's when I started signed up, and then doing those activities. You guys were playing really really hard to get, so to say. Do this today, and then you get this many points. For me, the idea was to learn about it, right? So that's
mm,
why I put in the effort. So then I got an email. So then I thought, I gave up. I said, okay, pata nahi to, there's too much of drama happening. I'm not so sure it's going to be, like it's going to happen. I'm not going to happen. But anyhow, so eventually, I saw an email that, okay, you've been selected and you're part of this, and there's going to be an intro round happening at a particular date. And that's when I started joining in. So, and one reason for me to stick around was, one, obviously my I wanted to do it, but the way you channelized and the way you planned the initial days. See, what happens is, when somebody is your first touch point, right? So that person needs to be really really well organized, and give all the information at the right time, and that requires a lot of effort. Getting people from different places, like in that cohort, and there were people from outside, India as well. So the timing, their questions, the initial like people initially have a lot of questions, and the way you were handling it, like always aware. So I think I asked you then also, like, when do you sleep? Because you were always available, so to say. So I mean, hats off to you. For me, I think it was a success, and this show podcast is one of the outcomes of that effort that you had put in. So thanks to you, and like Webber and Uttam and Umbrish as well. Like for creating that environment. So yeah, it's
I
it's
mean,
it's
yeah,
very interesting.
all first to the team. And I think when you mention about success, I think just one fact I would like to mention. I think I already spoke about it, but on record.
Hmm.
69, I guess total 80,000, 89, 80,000 people registered for being a part of the program.
Web
Uh,
three.
yes. and
Wow.
and just to reach that audience to just tell them कि, oh, web3 kuch hai was a big validation to begin with.
Yeah.
So that's where all the motivation comes from. Oh, there is a huge audience who just want to learn what's web3. I'm not saying you
Yeah.
become something in web3 or understand, okay, deep down tech and all this stuff, but just okay, I just want to understand what's web3.
Yeah.
That's what the thought was to. even do the program as well, just to make people aware of what is the ecosystem about, so that
Yeah.
then they can run around, explore. Okay, this is what I can do, or if it's for me, understand. If it's not for me, you take a different route. And after that, when we ended this program, I think 69 specifically builders came out of this program.
Yeah.
uh, I think even if it's 1% or 0.1% in a very short span of time, but the learning curve,
Hmm.
all the experts that I heard, they mentioned the learning curve is 6 to 8 months. I guess in 2 months of time, if you are able to build 70 builders, I mean, it's just magic. And not only that, it's not only to the team that built it, but people that put in the effort to actually do that. One of this becomes to be the future of Web3 podcast that I'm on right now as well. So I
Thank
think
you. Yeah. No, cool. So I mean, what used to happen was, like after every session, I think we used to do Monday and Fridays, right? So
Mm.
Friday sessions or Saturday sessions after people, like you had a lot of guest speakers as well from, I think Safari, and so I think there was once Aditi Chopra as well from Superwoman DAO, and there was Kash, not Kash, there was from somebody from Super Team as well, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
Cash was one of the
yeah,
main.
Cash of also there, and there was one more guy from Singapore. Anyway, so so after all these sessions, what used to happen was, all of us who were there, like usually the active ones would go online and just have a discussion and figure out what did they say. And there was a lot of back and forth going on, and that's why we're still in touch. Most of us are still in touch, and we keep supporting each other. So I think that's the relationships that have come out of that cohort. I think is one of the key elements. Obviously, learning and efforts are important, but the relationship that you carry for a longer period of time, I think those are very, very important things. And then again, that's thanks to you for being a fantastic community builder.
I think there are very specifically three things, that we should look at. If we just look at if we actually did anything for Web3, in terms of helping the ecosystem or taking it forward, the word of it. First thing is 69,000 people scratched the surface of Web3. I think
Hmm.
one. Second thing is people after every session coming onto these hangout calls,
Yeah,
spending like close to 2 hours doing
easy.
just surfing on internet के ये होता है ऐसे कर सकते हैं, this is how we can do it. I think that's
Yeah,
more than enough. I mean, just in terms of when you are wanting to understand the ecosystem. Third, I think the end result of 69 or 70 builders that came
yeah,
out. I think and it was a gradual process which basically kept me motivated as well. Daily, there are people who are doing it. There are people who want to learn. Then why not? It's a form of maybe why I'm not a part of this discussion if people want to
yeah,
do it. Again, goes back
yeah.
to the fact that I'm the best organizer of a party, but just sitting around when I'm actually in there. So it's basically that if people want to have fun, why am I not amplifying the fun that they should have? I mean, not boasting, but close to that. But again,
No, but there's
yeah,
nothing wrong. It's that's how you think. That's how you think, right? It plays a certain amount of role that your intrinsic value is, to support people to grow, right, and be at the back end. So that in itself says a lot about you. So so thank you for that. So now let's like now that you led the Web3 cohort and now you're building different programs, right? Maybe Web3 or something outside of that as well. So how has your journey been? Like, and what knowledge did you really have before starting the Web3 in itself?
so my contribution to anything that I do is basically uh, connecting people
Mhm.
and helping them collaborate with each other. So basically, how can Alec find right people in the community? How can Nirmal or a lot of other people who are there, Parth, Vishal,
Parth, Manju, Rushil, yeah, quite a lot of them.
how there are two things that I need to identify before I get into it. One, what are your outcomes? And are there people already who need support with anything? For example, if you are a designer, Manju is a developer. Manju can help you with development, and you can help him with design. Uh, what are the kind of partnerships or collaboration that we can already explore before I get in? Because we have these data points right, already. So I look at these three, four main elements, and then I get into it, and then I just try to make people connect. If you are asking some question, Manju might have an answer. Just tag him and see if he has an answer, or just ping him personally at times also. Oh yeah, dekhna, this is a question. I'm not an expert. Can you help me there? So
Yeah,
just nudging these conversations to begin with, so that I'm just the catalyst of all these collaborations. I'm there in the loop of what's happening, and then when I know what's happening, and I, for example, if Manjo is applying, or one of us is applying to any competitions, oh, we have a distribution. Why not promote and get you votes so that you can win?
Yeah.
We have distribution. You have made some product. Why not do an event, help you get the feedback on the product that you would always wish to.
Yeah.
And if you do it on your own, I think you would connect with someone, have a call once, and then you might find the other person twice. You can do 10 feedback calls in a week if you do it on your own. I have 10,000 people in the community. Why not just have a session, get 100 people on board, go one by one, 2 hours, and you have a lot of things to work on at least for 6 months. You know,
Yeah.
so again, coming back to how can I scale this? How can we scale
Yeah.
the learnings? How can I cut the learning curve of people who are coming in? And just basically that, how can I help people get reach their outcomes faster and in a more efficient way?
No, so interesting, So, and you said a very, very interesting point here, which I'm going to highlight, which is that, you would reach out to people saying that I don't know the answer. Can you help him? That, Om in itself is a very big statement, because to acknowledge running a cohort, you don't know an answer, is in itself, like we are traditionally, the way the leaders are projected is they're bound to have all the answers. That is not so the case anymore. Like I would have, go to my team and say, I don't know, let's discuss and figure out an answer. So that's something, that's why I think it was easier for me to catch that statement. That in itself speaks a lot volume about you as a leader, like at whatever position you are, it doesn't matter, because your leadership skill starts from the point, like let me help people and let's learn together. These are, I think, two fantastic things. And I think that's the reason why, like again, we keep going back to the same point, but that's one of the reasons why we are still connected. Like Manju and I, even Rushil and I, were doing still that discussion. Even though, like, I had announced that we're going to give everybody a POAP, for this cohort, the top 10 guys who do some certain things. It was done by Rushil, because I reached out to him, like, I don't have the time myself to do it. Can you go? Oh, yeah, why not? And then we are discussing several other, avenues for collaboration as well. It's only because of that, getting the right people together in and, bring something out. So, again, fantastic.
Just to add one more point, I think to that. Uh, if I would have been a representative of growth school giving you all the answers, I think people would not have answered other questions. For
Yeah.
example, I need to be one of you guys so that we can like make a group, like form a round table, like have help each other out. I need to pick
Yeah.
your brain also at the time when I nahi pata yaar, bata do, tumko pata you have.
Huh.
And when the applications were coming in, you'll be surprised. We had people with 10 years of metaverse experience. I don't know how. Definitely it was AR and VR. But I think the new terms that coming. We had out of 80,000 that I'm seeing, there were at least 10,000 people who are experts in a literal sense, like 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. मैं बोला यार मैं आंसर दूंगा तो नहीं होगा. I mean, it will be just injustice because there are people to call the bluff, and I genuinely don't know, and I'm one of you to learn together, and that's one of the things. If I'm one of you, only then I can lead the cohort or I can lead the program to people in the right
Yeah.
direction. And I think that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
motivation. Yeah, I need to be
And it showed.
on ground. Yeah.
And it showed. It was, like quite evident, right? So like, so okay, you put this together. So did you face any challenges? Like, or if you can just put out, like three, four core challenges which you faced while putting this team together. So because if there's any community manager hearing this now or later on YouTube, they would have these nuggets.
Challenges, I would say what I would do. I think a lot of times I would also think kya karna chahiye. I'm stuck. I don't know what's Web3. So when I don't know the answers, I even don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
And there are not 5, 10, 15 people. There are 10,000 people on Discord
Yeah.
waiting for some messages, waiting for some calls to happen and stuff. But I'm clueless. What should I do? There's a call at 8. There's already 7:30. What am I supposed to do? I think
Yeah.
what how I took it is basically I just wanted to be one step further of everyone who's here. For example, if
Hmm.
you're learning about blockchain, I would learn about blockchain for 2 hours and then take a break of an hour and then come to a session and tell, oh, these are the 5 types of blockchain. This is how it works, and this is how you can work on it, and this is how you should choose. If
Hmm.
if I'm hosting a session with any of the mentor, I'm the first one to grab all the details, notes, understand what keywords, and then come on the hangout again and discuss all the things once again. So I need to be not the first bencher, but at least a guy who is able to catch all the things, so I can just help people with what they're looking for. And
Yeah.
I think, as you mentioned about community managers, how I have ran my teams or I have run programs or anything that I've done, I have become the subject matter expert in whichever I'm doing, and that has helped me in miles. People see me as a domain expert, and they value my response. It's not just KR isko pata nahi hai. He's trying to find and give us, but yeah, we should. People respect what I say,
Yeah.
and they count on it. I think that can only happen when you are well read in or well researched at the same time, and
Yeah.
you actually put in that effort to create that awareness amongst people also. यार मैं भी पढ़ रहा हूँ. I'm also learning with you guys. I'm just doing a little more
Yeah.
so that you don't have to do a lot of that. So it was like that. A lot of tools exploration happened that way. A lot of blockchain, a lot of NFTs, a lot of any discussion that we had. I made sure that I'm spending enough time for me to fill up my gaps so that
Yeah.
I mean, even if I don't know, that's fine. But I should be at least prepared enough so that I can people who are listening to me can at least take that word for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, that's very nicely said. So, what you're going to present, you need to be aware, like, fully nobody knows, right? But then you need to be aware of it in a level that you can actually clearly talk about it. And that's where the effort, comes into the picture. And when you keep doing that over and over again, you become very well versed about it, like, like the back of your hand. And I think that showed. And yeah, and that's why, like, it boils down to you never be, never sleeping, because you had so many sessions going on. You had to learn so many things and, do that. So it's again, it's interesting, like how you put that together. Right. So, okay, so now let's have a point blank, like a question. So from that point, like having moved and done and, got over with this particular cohort for Web3, do you think the program was a success or a failure? And how would you identify it? Like, whether it was a success or a failure?
I think personally, if I have to look, as a community or just as a person who spoke to a lot of people or who hosted session, not from a one who read and led and organized all of the sessions. I think at a base level, was I able to establish connections that help people explore Web3 together? Answer is yes. And I think you already mentioned about Rashid and Manju and all of that. I think yes, it was a success. I mean, I'm not going on onto the philosophical stage ke ek bhi hua to bahut acha hai, which is already there. What I'm saying is the tangible outcomes, we got 70 builders out of the program. It means there
Yeah.
were a lot of people who put in that effort to actually do, and I think that is a validation for us as well at the same time that
Yeah.
it was required. People were looking for it, and
Yeah.
I think this filled a very big gap there. And yes, it was success. And I think, the thing that we keep talking about in all the groups of that we are part of, a lot of people still don't understand Web3. A lot of people still don't understand the ecosystem. They are not well versed with the terms, and all of this is fine. But were we able to play a part there? Yes,
Hmm.
we were able to impact or at least just show our ads to millions of people to, oh, so there's something called as Web3, and we did it for free. This was one of the
Yeah.
big experiments that we did. We never
Yeah.
in Abhi tak we have never did a lot of free programs, but this was a full 6, 7, 8 weeks of free program ran by interesting people, interesting brands coming on board, along with mentors who are globally, known, who are actually doing
Yeah.
the stuff we wanted to do. I think it was a
Yeah.
great success in all the ways that it could have been. Yeah.
No, it is. It sure is. Sure is. And the kind of getting the kind of guest that you got on the show is phenomenal, right? So it was actually very interesting. So, so let me ask you this. So what are the challenges of building a community? Okay, you shared how you build it, but what goes in the back of your head, when you're building it? So this answer, I think would especially help a lot of people who are getting into community management. And there's certain people that I'm interacting with on a regular basis. I'll share this nugget with them to go and listen to you, right? So go ahead.
So there are two, three fundamental ways of communicating, right?
Mm-hmm.
One is with a vision, and the vision as in with any specific reason that you want to. For example, and I'll share you a specific thing also. I think you might have seen a lot of these Facebook groups or a lot of PR emerging when the World Cup starts. The FIFA World Cup is on its way. You would
Yeah.
see suddenly a lot of hundreds of football communities get active on social media, started talking about it and do all the stuff. And once the World Cup will end, they will die down. I mean, they will still be football communities, but they won't be so active as they are right now. So it's a time bound activity, time bound community, which basically gets together for one reason and dies off when it's required to be, and then you get back again when the event is there. Second
Mm-hmm.
thing is with a specific point of a long term vision. For example, if I say the vision, I think let's take again the Web3 cohort. From Web3 cohort or the Web3 community should be able to move people from beginner to expert level or
Yeah.
intermediate level. Let's say just go one step further with everything that we do. But so
Mm-hmm.
everything that I do or we do or any mentor that we get or any session that we
Mm-hmm.
plan is from a same perspective. Oh, are we able to move people from understanding NFTs from beginning to NFT to understanding NFTs to
Mm-hmm.
advanced. And I think every week, 3 or 4 sessions that happened, it was planned in such a way that Monday we'll understand about beginning, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday we'll understand about a little deep aspect into it, and then Friday or Saturday we'll go very deep into it and punch it and see if people can take it. And then on next week we'll revise on the feedback and see. I think and just be very true to what you are trying to do with the vision or the aim, the outcome that you want to achieve with that. Uh, and I think that will lead a very big way. But I think one tactical advice I think a lot of people would need is how to get the conversation started. Community
Yeah.
ho gaya. We have created a group, we have created a Discord community or a Slack group for this. What is the first message that I should put? How I make
Yeah.
people talk to each other? What should I
Yeah.
exactly so that they get interested in each other? So
Yeah.
as I said, whenever you get these registrations or so first of all, make a people whom you know in your own circle, like you already have, Jatin, Vishal, again, all the good names. And now I know, okay, what are you looking for? Vishal is looking for designing. You are looking for design, and you have an agency. Manju again, development. Ruchil is looking to be explore development and become like a mentor there. Jatin again is a game developer. He's looking at AR, VR, or making a metaverse. I know what these guys want. Can
Yeah.
we help each other out? One, can we make a ritual out of it? Can we meet every Friday, take one project up and just follow it up, every week and see how we are doing?
Yeah.
One, the conversations have begun. What you need to do, people will see you doing it, and then they will, yeah, what are the group of people he's part? People want to become part of a circle if you are intellectual. People want to become part of a
Yeah.
circle if you are, around good people. If they see you doing, and one of the key parts, if you saw, I think we add in all the sessions, everyone who writes a thread about a session gets something. It was one
Yeah.
of the reasons that people not don't see growth school as something that's doing, but people see you as a domain expert. So they reach out to
Yeah.
you if want. You become the hero, basically, in your
Yeah.
circle, so that more people join for the same reason and for the same activity. So the audience that you are getting into your community is aligned with the vision that you have created and formed, which basically
Yeah.
moves on forward, and you are able to stick to it. And you will find some places where you have to nudge, push people sometimes. Okay, ye karo ya ye karna chahiye. We are and make determine to each other of whatever they are doing. The- Everyone has lives, and we will die off. An interest will die off some or the other time. But can you be a catalyst of, oh, again, oh, I see you're not active for 2 weeks, that's fine, but there's someone who needs help. Can you just come for an hour or 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Once you are there, I know you're not going to go away. So, and,
Yeah.
and that's the value that people will create for you or you will create for people. So I
Yeah.
think that's why one of the reasons the call went on till 7 a.m., starting at 9 p.m. I think I mean that are two three things I think that should be helpful.
Oh yeah, yeah. Also, it's funny. Like I had dropped off some calls at 2 or 3 in the night. Like okay, we have to go do some work the next day, and there's some people who are still on the call and trying to figure things out together. So that's again, like I think that's a very very good example of how you described how to bring momentum. How do you
Mm,
initiate and continue with the momentum of the community? Like I'm parts of tons of communities, right? Like say from Lamborghini to other ones, and they're just very like some are very monotonous, some only using to talk about their product, not really building a community. It's just about like just having ears to listen to their voice and not really talking. So yeah, so it's interesting how you describe it to take it forward. Cool. So what has happened since the cohort? Like it's been some time now. So have you done any more of these and Web3, or like how's been the response overall after it has happened?
So I'll tell you very specific story because I was also wanting to find the answer to the same question, and because I didn't knew, I asked people once again. So the timing was just when the cohort ended. A Web3 conference was organized in Goa, and
Mhm.
and I already had good friends in Web3 now because I was managing community. I was in touch with few other people, founders, entrepreneurs, who I was constantly speaking to basically grow my knowledge and help them basically with something. It was a two-way thing. So I just wanted to check what is the impact that we
Mhm.
have made. Definitely, there were a lot of people
Mhm.
coming and we circulated a feedback form and all those happened. I see the feedback
Mhm.
that has come in, but I just want to see the impact that it has brought into the ecosystem, or has it even touched surfaces there. uh, I went to Web3 conference. I think 9 p.m. I was packing the bags. I didn't book a ticket. I booked a ticket at 9 and then started packing my bags and then went to Goa that night for 3 days.
Mhm.
And and definitely getting a pass of that conference was also difficult then. A lot of people, yaar pass nahi hai, all access and all. A lot of things were happening then. So I fortunately got one, and I spent the whole 3 days. I just spent uh, with one or two guys to understand what is the impact that we have made. Basically, like a circle. In any conference you go, you find your two, three people, good people. And the problem with me is I cannot reach out to people and talk myself. I'm an introvert guy. It would
Okay.
sound ironic now, but it is. And so what I my hack is to find a person who knows everyone, or who is an extrovert, and stick with him throughout 1 or 2 days. And I did that. So
Interesting hack.
so if Alec is meeting everyone, I'll just stick with Alec. I can put an effort to speak to you for an hour, and then you are mine for 3 days. So that's what I can
Yeah.
do. So and that for all the events and all, and I think till late nights we spend a lot of in late nights we were in conference, and after all the conference parties we were in some discussions, some after parties that happen. A lot of events there. Everybody, the good thing is everybody recognized me, and that was a validation.
Fantastic.
Web3 में कुछ किया. Oh हाँ, Web3 cohort. Okay, you did some progress. That is enough. People know. Okay. Then certainly some people came and, oh, I was a part of it. Only to them I asked, okay, what did you feel? Then said, "Ke yaar,
Uh,
I mean, I won't say any other things because it's getting recorded. I'll tell you backstage. But a lot of people said, "Ke it was very well organized." I learned a lot of it. I learned a lot of it. I got a structure of how I should, move into Web3. I got a clear path of what I should do in Web3,
yeah.
and I think close to 100 people personally had these conversations, and they told me. And I think my reason to go there was only, as I mentioned, just to understand if it has made some impact in the ecosystem. And not only that, I mean, 2 3 days I've spent at one of the friends' place there, and it was just out of love. Yaar, you guys have done a great job. You have to stay with me for a day or two. A lot of those such happen, and people don't know me in Web3. I mean, to be honest, I mean, now they do. Now, because I have also actively started approaching people, and the stuff that we did with a
Hmm.
program. But I was also not very active, but now people know, okay, oh, they have done this interesting thing which was happened, and people respect that fact. It was not just कि हाँ करने को किया था, लेकिन हाँ they guide legit did some good job at it. This was the conclusive feedback that I got, and I think that's how I validated a lot of things that I did in the quad, and then took some time for me to process and see a way forward.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. Like it was fantastic, and hearing such a response from people coming to you and saying about it, I think that is a very, very big validation of how it was led and what impact it created. So, any more coming up? Like for people who want to join new, and come again. Any plans of doing a new one under
So
this, like for Web three?
one interesting thing that we have did is so now the whole 6V Web3 program now is a playlist. So everyone who wants to join can sign up and just get the access to it all at once, and they can churn it as the at their own pace, watch it at their own pace, and again be part of the community as well. Uh, I think the time I've took some time off myself for me to grow further. I think I was definitely one level up, but I think there was a limit to it, and that's why
Yeah.
I think I took time myself off to understand if, again, is this something for me, is this something where I want to see my future, or I mean, even if not the future, but is this something that I need want to create for myself? The answer is yes. I don't know. The answer is no. I still don't know. I'm figuring it out. As I said, I'm still learning. uh, and that's why I think what happened is it was not only with the three but all of other cohorts also. So intuitively, I'm a very hands-on person. For example, I like to do things myself.
Yeah.
So I was off for it for a month. I think now I have started being active on
Hmm.
not only Web3 but all of Discord servers, and uh, at the kind of validation I think again after posting one message, I think there were again the channel became very active, but basically a sense of, oh, people needed more, people still want more, and people are looking at this. So I think it is again a
Yeah.
bit of motivation where I'm trying to structure a few things there, not a program maybe, but some career pathways or some things, some sprints that we could create and do ourselves that could be relevant for people again. Like, okay, Alec is doing a podcast. How can we scale this? How can we reach it to more people? We can do something. We can again sit on one of the calls, understand this could be the marketing strategy. Actually, create some creatives. Actually, draft a strategy of content pieces that can come out of this podcast. It's a 1 hour podcast, 10 hours of content. Just chop it off. Maybe a reel, maybe you know and we can do this together, pick out some these kind of projects, and how can we just again help people in this domain so that they grow in this domain specifically to that again
Nice.
aligns it back to the vision phase that where we started from, and have
Wow.
some portfolio or activity for people to actually show people if they're working with me, you or anyone, oh, this is what I did, some tangible things that they could show. So these are three things
Yeah.
that I'm focusing on. I don't know if it'll be again the most active community in India or not. But yeah, I think if people are wanting to do it, I'll be up for it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a very interesting way. That's again, I think, and thank God you're back now. So I can see, and all of us can see a lot more things happening. And we understand having interacted with you much more personally and closely. So we understand how you work. So we are hoping for some new things coming up as well. So all the best for that. While you structured it around in your head and lay it in front of the community.
Yeah,
Cool. So
I think it's not only me. I think a lot of support that comes in plays a part
yeah.
as well. So I think all of you are going to be there with me, and we'll do this. We'll make this
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. No, it's interesting. No, so so like a couple of questions, uh, like now you interact with the Web three, and we understand, like we discussed it in the initially, like not a lot of people are aware. Like one of the things that I have personally taken, under the as a part of my organization is to educate people, right? So I'm doing a lot of sessions around, making people understand what is Web three, and then there were certain sessions around how NFTs can be useful, the goods and bads of it, how the mindset needs to be in this current hour. So I think that's a very important thing. My question is, like when you were talking to people, do you face challenges, because the association with cryptocurrencies is not very positive as of now. So in your daily interactions with teams, founders, and other people or general public, how do they view Web3?
Fortunately, the kind of people I'm around, they're well aware of what's happening and how the whole ecosystem has been playing out, and they're positive. not ke are yaar paisa डूब गया. It's
Yeah,
sure it is a way, sure it is a lot of people how think, which is true, which has legitimately happened. But I think the kind of people that I'm around, the kind of people that are there with me, they are pretty matured in this space, so they understand the
hmm,
dynamics of it. Still, there are people, as you mentioned, that जिसको पता नहीं है, don't understand, who just look at from a very umbrella or a
hmm,
bird's eye view, and they make
yeah,
assumptions. I think my
yeah,
only understanding, or how, or what effort do I make, is I just make them, I just ask them questions, that on the basis of, is it a right way to make decision, or just making them, if I tell you, oh, this is a bad decision that you have made and you should think like
yeah,
this, you're not going to listen to me. If I ask you, oh, okay, this is how you think, interesting, but don't you think there are two more pointers that you should carry when you are thinking? So you are
yeah,
questioning your own process. So when you do it yourself, you're open to the new ideas. When you're open to
yeah.
new ideas, I think you're open to Web3, crypto, or any third, fourth idea also, not just that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Today it's Web3, crypto. Tomorrow it could be something else. Paths
Exactly.
breaking, so to say, right? It's just about how you approach things. I think that's a
Exactly. So
very, very important
I go a
nugget.
little one level deep there and try to see, you know, is this person actually lost money or has invested, and what is basically, what is the relationship right now, and then how are you justifying that? I'm not a part of,
Absolutely.
I'm not a part of, sharing my opinion and want people to believe it. Definitely, I want people to make your own, but at least have the full information and see, understand all the nuances, and then make a concrete decision for your lifetime, not just for a month or
Yeah,
two. So that even if you
yeah,
want to
yeah,
invest, if you don't,
yeah. Fantastic, Nugget. Fantastic, Om. I think we're right at the top. So I just have two, three ender questions. It's been a fantastic discussion. I would want to talk more, but keeping the time in mind. So your outlook on Web3 in one word: positive, negative, neutral. One word.
it's sure positive.
Fantastic. That's a great way to look at it. And now, how do how you looking at Web3 and its future?
Basically, again, it is a catalyst of a lot of things that we do. I mean, and we have learned also a lot of things there. Basically, as we have seen, the governance is a very decent part of it, like with the
Hmm.
DAO governance that we have learned, or have
Yeah,
seen. The second part, I think that the use cases of blockchain actually, and not just, I mean, not specifically to crypto, but other parts where ledger comes into play, where all of the information systems can be, designed
yeah.
pretty well. I think it is. I mean, I'm still not at a point where I can say Web3 is the future, but I'm at a
Hmm.
point. Oh, there is a place for Web3 in future. I have started with this thought, and I think then we'll build up on top and see, where we'll end up. Again, it's still a very closed community, or a very less number of people who are trying to spark these discussions. And I think the conversation that are bringing up will basically just spread more awareness. And I think one of the big things that I am myself also seeing, the future of Web3 podcast again by Alik, will do the job to reach more people by spreading the awareness that it can, by actually again bringing in people who know, who understand, who have some certain idea of what actually this is. So I
Oh,
think
yeah.
only through these initiatives it will grow longer, and people would have found them good, and the community will grow. I think that is the whole idea. As far, it's still a lot broader. It will take a lot time, but it will be there.
No, it's definitely getting there, and thank you for that, acknowledgement as well. We're just playing our part, like like you and everybody else. Cool. So last bit of advice, one or two critical pieces of advice. I was saying critical, critical pieces of advice for the people, like primarily students, or uh, people who are fresh out of college or starting their careers who want to get into Web3 right now.
Critical piece, very specifically. I think I might get a little DMs for saying this, but I'll still say that. I mean, Web3 is not fancy. It looks like it, definitely, because it's VR, it's graphics, a lot of it, and it's created by humans, definitely. So it looks fancy because people like good packaging, but it's not fancy. and it takes time to learn, and you should put that time. The second part is it's not that hard, it's easy. How how hard it is for Alec to just text me, set up a calendar and then start a StreamYard call, or a Zoom call, or a YouTube call. It's not. It's easy. I was able to do it, and you just have to talk to a lot of people. For that, you need to be part of a circle that is having these rich discussions. And I think you'll find a way. I mean, just and don't make decisions fast. Give it time, and you will understand what flavor works for you. I mean, what works for you in Web3 or in any specific thing, whatever you're trying to explore. So be in touch with Alec, be in touch with me, be in touch with people like these who have these rich discussions, who actually know and understand bits and pieces. I think that would be it. Your voice is not audible, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry. So yeah, so I would say, so thank you very much for that piece, and everybody who's listening in, go follow Om on LinkedIn and Twitter. He's much more active on Twitter, but I think LinkedIn is also there, so you can just follow him, reach out to him. Super open guy. Be mindful of his time. He puts in tons of effort to in his cohorts and his efforts, not only in Web3 but other cohorts that he's running at Growth School. He's building. He's part of the core founding team again. Be mindful of his time, but he's super approachable. So you will get an answer for sure, maybe not immediately. So have patience. That's another very important thing, what Om also mentioned. Have patience because you're learning something new in technology, Web3, and other things. So, have patience. So, how you deal with people with patience, how you learn with patience. On that note, I want to say thank you, Om, again for coming. It's been a pleasure, having this discussion. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Good to see a lot of the future sessions as well. Love to help wherever I
Yeah.
think I'm helpful.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.